So quick pit stop at a road cut that I've driven by before that I've noticed has very green, kind of almost pyroxene looking matrix. And then sure enough, I can see here we got a calcite crystal face with some actual properly starting to crystallize out pyroxene, most likely diopside. There's a huge section of this, so I'm gonna poke around and see if there are any other calcite veins. I think I see some more. Like you can see here, the calcite does vein out. So there might be, no, that's not calcite. That's like a nice or a metamorphized granite type of granitoid material. But there might be, there we got some weird crystallization in that rock. But there might be some sort of maybe weathered out pocket, maybe with some pyroxene crystals along here somewhere. So we'll check it out, see if there's anything of interest to collect, and if not, we'll continue on to the next location. Just about like probably 5 meters up from where I was just at, we've already got some sort of veining. Mineralization isn't really that great, but it could also just be degrading. There are some, so just up from about 5 meters from where I started, I noticed this vein. It's pyroxene mixed in with some feldspar. This was just loose in there, a little feldspar crystal. And then right above, I kind of just follow it and I pulled out this piece, which is a larger feldspar crystal with some calcite and stuff. But there is promise here in this kind of weird metamorphic road cut. So we're gonna keep poking around, see if we can find some bigger, partially eroded veins with some better crystallization. But this is promising when you see this, where you can see the larger crystal grains, and then you start to find little crystallized bits, and then right above it you find a larger partial crystal with the large calcite kind of in there. That's a good sign. So there might be more of that material lying around. So we're getting more and more of this crystallization, you can see, and there's like these veins that are forming. I think up here it gets pretty well crystallized. I don't know if it's fully sharp diopside crystals, but there's some good chance of something here. But question is there any loose material? Because there's no way I'm blinking away at something that high up above my head. So question is, we're gonna look and see if we can find anything loose. So more and more vein material, but not a lot of it is super well crystallized. You can see the kind of the eroded veins on the faces, and the feldspar isn't super well formed, and the mica is kind of just squished. You do get like a couple pieces like this with some mica on it, but it's like nothing spectacular that I'm seeing. So I'll poke around a little bit longer, but I'll probably move on to my next road cut. But this stuff is kind of the better stuff that I found so far. This piece I think I'm going to just take home and experiment and etch out to see if there's anything well crystallized hidden in the calcite. So I'm back again at a road cut I've been before this year, and you can see that there's a quartz pocket here. And let me just show you some stuff. I need to put my tools down. I'm pretty sure this little bit here is going to have some quartz crystals on the back. Hard to tell for sure, but these are a couple of the pieces that I picked up that have definite quartz crystals. So this, whatever reason, this wall, there are these faults that basically run like this, and basically it stacks up the wall, And sometimes in those faults, we get these calcite pockets that then also have the smoky quartz in them. So I got these two lovely little crystals, these little black ones. And I noticed farther along the road cut, there's some material with pyrite in it. So I thought I'd get a chunk of that and just poke around and see if there's maybe some actual pyritized crystals somewhere along here, because it seems that this section, you can see there's pyrite all in here. There's pyrite along this little vein here, or this face of the vein. So I'm gonna just poke around and see if there's any bits or pieces with some actual crystallized, like nice pyrite crystals. Maybe something up there in the loose dirt, some piece of matrix with some pyrite on it. So here's that chunk with the pyrite on it. You can see there's some fresh stuff exposed in the back. Nothing else was found there, so I moved on to another spot. Here we have a bit of the kind of like the calcite vein, and then in those calcite veins you can see there's some quartz pocketing. And I think this piece up here is loose, or loose enough. Oh, give me a second. Now here it is. I saw a little bit of quartz on there, yeah, over here, but doesn't look super impressive. That's okay. We're just trying to see if there's any like larger pockets, which it doesn't seem to be, so we'll just move on to the next spot. But this spot's just all about poking around, checking out those slightly angled veins that I was talking about, because in those the calcite tends to sometimes carry the quartz. And you can see like this rock is pretty interesting. It's kind of like different layers, and the veins are kind of sandwiched between those layers, and they're generally, like I said, kind of angled, though sometimes they you can kind of see here the vein kind of goes up and down, and that's just due to the layers compressing and buckling. We have more pockets of quartz and stuff. Just below that pocket I found this. It's got a little calcite pocket, and then this was nearby as well. Two lovely medium sized, I'd say, for this area, smoky quartz crystals on calcite. And you can see there's another kind of pocket or vein in here, and you can see all this kind of calcite material. So I think this might be a good spot to dig in. If I had the time, I would do that, but I'm just kind of exploring and just picking up some scraps and bits and trying to get myself more situated with this location. The more I look at this road cut, the more pockets of quartz I see. You can see quartz in there. See quartz exposed right here. Out of here, I pulled this little loose plate of druzy. And then there's another pocket of quartz. You can zoom in. You can see those crystals. And additionally, this came from a vein a little farther down. Nice tuber, nice larger crystal with some hematite inclusions. But yeah, this place is, there's definitely a lot more quartz than I first realized. It's just, you can see it. These calcite veins kind of run in some of the faults, and then also in some of these, I would say grainier, maybe pyroxene zones. And you get some interesting material. So here we have the finds from the two different road cuts cleaned up. The first road cut, all of the finds that I found, these 4 finds, all were etched out in an acid bath because a lot of them had calcite on them, and I wanted to see what I could etch out and expose. This piece was one of the feldspar pieces I found. You can see there's a singular white feldspar crystal there, plus there's some additional kind of dark green pyroxene. Let's see if we can get a closer look at that.
Yeah, you got some dark green pyroxene crystals in the mix. You see there's one intersecting here where it's broken in the crystal, but you can see the crystal cross section through the feldspar. And then there's some kind of lumpy quartz in the mix as well. Then we have this piece, which turned out to be just like a lovely pocket of feldspars. Still have to etch it a little bit more. It's still got a little bit more calcite in there, but you can see it's got this lovely white to kind of peachy, light peachy colored feldspars. So that was actually probably the best piece of this location, was just this random chunk. I believe it was kind of sitting loose on top of one of the veins, and I just pulled it out and I saw the kind of some of the feldspar crystals on the edges, and there was a huge chunk of calcite in it. So I thought I'd just take it back and etch it out, because who knows what could be in there. And it turned out to be a nice little feldspar specimen. Now this is a piece of like kind of pyroxene material, and there was like a vein of calcite going through it. So I thought I'd etch it out, and it seems to have a bunch of little pyroxene crystals in it. So what I'll do is I'll take a bunch of pictures under the microscope and just throw them up as I'm talking, and we'll see what it looks like. I haven't even looked at them just yet under the microscope, so it'll be my first time seeing them too. So it'll be a nice surprise for all of us, and hopefully there's some nice close-ups that I can get. With this big chunk, it had a couple veins running through it. The main one here is mostly pyroxene mixed in with a bunch of mica. You can see there's mica. There's some cross-section of the mica. And then there's this white mineral, which might be feldspar, but in this smaller vein, sorry, I hit the camera. If we take a closer look at the smaller vein, you can see that there's some really tiny little kind of crystals in there. And I want to take a closer look at those, because those look kind of interesting. I don't think they're feldspar, so I don't know what it is, but it'll be some interesting micro minerals, I guess. So I'll throw up those pictures right now, and we'll take a look-see at it. There might be some other minerals in the mix, but it looks like predominantly kind of these long white crystals and then the pyroxene, and hopefully we get some good pictures. Now moving on to the second road cut. We did 2 road cuts in this video. The second one was one I already visited. I'll put a link in the description below to the video on that visit, but I collected a little bit more quartz from that road cut. And here are a couple more larger sized points, at least for that road cut, of smoky quartz. Nice dark black smoky quartz. Here's another example, but the quartz crystals are nicely in the calcite that they're found in at this location. It's a nice little kind of cluster. The quartz is a little lighter. You can see it's like a lighter gray smoky quartz. And these crystals are nice and lustrous and lovely. Last but definitely not least, we have this one. Another cluster, kind of a bigger crystals, but this one has hematite kind of included in the crystal and then on top of the crystal as well. These nice little hematite spheres, you can see them in the crystal itself, which is a cool combo. Altogether, both of these locations kind of produced some very interesting specimens. The first location kind of seemed like a bust, but actually after etching the specimens, I think they're actually a pleasant surprise. So I'm quite happy with that. But this brings us to the end of this video. If you like this type of content, please do hit the like and subscribe button below. It helps out the channel a lot. And please also in the comment section below, let me know what you guys found the most interesting. I always appreciate your guys' feedback. And please folks, just have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys in the next video.